House of Clemente. I'm your co-host, Montana.
And my name is Marco.
And let's see, we gotta do a recap. That's what we do here. So, has anything interesting happened for you on your end? I'm gonna have you start. Have you had a good week? Anything new?
I have had a good week.
Get pepper sprayed?
No, that was
dang it.
2 weeks ago. Actually, like in the videos, was like, did I say it was last week or did I like specify that it was 2 weeks ago?
I don't know, but last week was like a 2-week gap. So we were covering that since we had been gone.
Yes.
You had been pepper sprayed and you were blind and now you can see.
Right, I can see now perfectly.
I once was blind. Sorry.
This week I went back to the academy and I got weapons certified.
Ooh.
So
like pew pew?
Yeah, pew pew.
Pew pew.
And you know the highest that you could score is a 250. Mm-hmm. The highest I scored in practice was 245. And then like the practice round before, like the actual thing, I shot a 242. And then my actual thing, I shot a 227. So
that's okay. You were robbed.
Don't mess with me.
So basically, if you break in, he doesn't miss his shot.
And this week has felt really long.
It has.
My patience has thinned a little bit with my classmates. I'm kind of nearing the end of my rope, but you know, this upcoming week is actually the last week that I have, so you know, I'm excited about that.
Yes, the next time you guys see us, we'll be able to talk about his graduation. And so, so excited. Like, I'm trying to debate between like wearing the jersey I had on last week that says Clemente, or if I should make something totally new that just says like Officer Clemente, and then like have big poster signs and it's like, well, Clemente, you know, like I don't know which one I should do. I want to do something that's going to embarrass you though. So, like, if you guys have ideas, because I can. Like, are we husband and wife? Yes, but we're also best friends, and I have to. So
that's fair.
Yeah, I'm so excited though. So that's what you guys are gonna hear about next week, a little bit anyway. But yeah, that's exciting that you got certified and stuff, and like your score was so good considering you've never like dealt with weapons and stuff before. Like,
yeah, that was my first time ever.
That's like, awesome.
I remember we started on Monday, and like the instructor like brought me in front of the target, and she's like, "Okay, now like load your weapon." And I sat there with a round in my hand and the magazine, and I was just like,
"You're like, how do I do that?"
Right. I was like, "Okay, what comes after this part?"
Man.
But no, I mean, it was a fun experience. It was definitely something new. I wouldn't say like I enjoy like having a loaded weapon in any other case other than like being on the range.
Yeah.
But like being on the range, I found it pretty fun.
Yeah.
But that was pretty much my week. Like the whole entire week, that's all I was doing.
Yeah, just all weapons.
Yeah.
That's cool.
What were you doing?
Let's see. So in case you haven't seen, the very first episode of Beneath the Surface came out on Monday. So if you haven't seen it, go see it and check it out, and you know, like and comment, subscribe, and like do all that stuff because it's real fun. So like I've started that, and then let's see, something that's just like really fun for me is that I've started the process of a loaded Bible. So like I've gotten like all the highlighters, and like I'm telling you, but like you've watched me do it, but like I got all the highlighters and like the cute pins and like I forgot what it's called, but it's like scrapbooking tape, so like it has patterns on it and stuff. So like I've made my Bible very, very cute. My Bible's gonna be the cutest Bible in heaven. I don't want to hear about it. And I mean, like, there's been some stuff that I'm working on, like, as far as little personal growths that I've noticed. I'm really excited. Like, I'm not boasting about it. Like, I'm not trying to do that. But I'm very excited because I've been speaking in tongues more. And I'm really excited about that, considering, like, a few months ago, there was an altar call for us to be filled with tongues, and I would not go. And I know they kept waiting on me. Like, they don't know they're waiting on me, but, like, they kept on and kept on and kept on. They're like, if you want to come, like, now's your time. Like, you can't go home and complain when this has been your open door. And I was sitting there, and I was so scared to go up front. And so I missed out. And so I'm really happy that now, you know, you never really miss God. Like, he's waiting. So I'm very thankful for that. But aside from that, like, a little bit of, like, worldly news, I guess, I'm very excited because our brothers and sisters in Christ in Iran, Iran, whatever, they are finally free as of the 27th, I think it was.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm really excited about that, which, like, I know that's, you know, it's still war, it's still unfortunate, but I'm very excited for the kingdom aspect of it.
Right.
But, you know, it kind of made me think about, like, I can't even imagine what they've been going through as far as, like, oppression. And, you know, like, if you want to get political with it, you can. I'm not. But, you know, I saw the video of people breaking out in the streets the minute that they found out that, you know, the people, I'm not going to say the names because I don't want to get flagged, but the people were captured and murdered. And, like, women were ripping off their hijabs and dancing in the streets because they haven't been allowed to do that this whole time. You know, like, they haven't been able to read, to go to school. Young girls have been mutilated. You know, like, and men have been oppressed too, but men have been more of kind of brainwashed to fit into the regime. So they've also gone through an oppression, but the women didn't have a choice. Like, it was like the men made the choice, and now you have to deal with it and pay the consequence.
Right.
So it just got me thinking about, you know, I wonder what it was that kept them so inspired and kept them being like, yeah, my circumstances suck. I know they have to be exhausted. But spiritually, they still clung on to something that was like, no, God's still good. And I don't know how. I don't see it. But I know he's going to pull through.
Right.
And even if he doesn't, like, in my last day, you're going to find me still worshiping Jesus. And it kind of, I think it kind of ties into, like, what we were talking about with today was going to be about how to stand when you're exhausted spiritually. Physically too, you know, physically can kind of, like, spill over, and vice versa. When you're spiritually exhausted, it spills over into the physical. But I couldn't help but think that those kind of went together because, I mean, that's decades of oppression and trying to cling to your faith in secret, trying to cling to the love of Jesus in secret. And, you know, I wish I could, like, talk to one of them and be like, what did you do? Like, what did you cling to? Knowing that this is what your surroundings were.
I bet that would be, like, a very inspiring, like, message.
And, like, for people to be willing to hear it without being like, oh, I hate Trump. I hate this one. I hate that. Like, I don't care. Like, how can you be over here?
Don't flag us, YouTube.
So we have a website, mnmcollective.com, just in case. Go check it out. Every episode's there. But I don't understand how people can be on this side. And, like, I'm not trying to get on a whole soapbox thing. I'm really not. But I don't understand how people can be on this side and they're like, I'm a feminist. I'm pro-female. When this has been the biggest oppression to women that we've seen in a long time. But over here, like, we celebrate the men in dresses who are, like, overtaking women's sports. And they're trying to say that they're a woman and they have cramps and, you know, they have periods and, like, what you're having is a hormonal imbalance. That's what you're having. But, you know, that's what feminism over here is. But feminism over there looks totally different. So sometimes, like, I'm exhausted just looking at the oppression that we have in America. And then when you actually compare it, like, bipartisan to all the other oppression taken across the globe. Like they don't even compare. They're not even similar. And that doesn't mean that we don't go through things here. We do, but most of it's man-made. Like it's self-done. Like
Right.
we voted it in. They didn't vote this in. So like I would love to have a conversation and just hear like what was it that you clung to allow you to stand when it really didn't make sense to.
Well, I mean, I feel like I have an answer for that. I feel like when you experience a move of God in any way, like a true, like powerful move, or any move in general, like I feel when you get like a taste of that, you know, it's kind of course, like things are going to get thrown at you, but it is like sort of that, even when your spirit's broken down, it's just like you have something to cling on to. Like you're clinging on to that. Like, no, he's done it before. Or like he's done this. And like, I know by like, you know, if you're faithful in reading your scripture and like studying up, it's like, I know that he's always pulled through and I know that he has a plan. I think like using all of those factors, like that's how you're able to hold on.
Well, and see, y'all have to forgive me. My voice is not very strong right now for some reason. I don't know. As soon as we press record, I have been fine all day. As soon as we press record. But, you know, when I look, and, you know, Nigeria had a huge genocide against Christians. And there's a lot of them that are like in underground churches. Or you go to like China. China is a huge Christian nation, like the people. But the government is so corrupted, like that's all you hear about. And then you hear stories every once in a while of like these underground churches, this underground revival that's taking place across China. And then, I mean, like I said, like this stuff going on in Iran. I don't know, like it's almost left me dumbfounded because sometimes I'm like, you know, there's times where like I feel like I've had a bad week and sometimes it expands to like a bad month where it's like, am I blessed? Sure. But like, I'm just not feeling great. Like something's just off. Or, you know, like the atmosphere, sometimes it gets heavy. And it's like, sometimes my knees buckle from like things just not going my way. But then you have people in these nations that are truly going through oppression and hardship. And, you know, it's not like what we think where it's like, oh, my bills aren't paid. I don't really think that they care about their bills being paid when it's like if they own a Bible, their head's cut off. You know, like I don't think that that's what their priority is. But like when you see people where like they're willing to go to an underground church, they're willing to sit and hear the word read because it's not actually printed in their language because their country's outlawed it. You know, like when you see people who is like, this is enough for me that I'm willing to lose everything in order to just get like to just touch the hem of his garment. Like they're not seeing the blessings because all they see is like death to their people and to anyone who somewhat believes what they believe. And then you have America who like at this point, like you can worship a tree if you want to. Like we've kind of allowed anything to happen over here. And it's like we take it for granted and we buckle over the tiniest thing and we can't stand for anything. That's why our whole system is in such a turmoil because we couldn't stand for anything because the church kept getting exhausted every time your knees buckled a little bit over the slightest inconvenience. But again, you have all these other nations who are truly oppressed, who are willing to just get a taste of Jesus here. And I mean, you can kill them for it. They'll take them. Like they're willing to lose their life just for a moment. And we're not willing to sit in like discomfort for just a second.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? I mean,
Absolutely.
like that's just, I don't know, like the whole thing over there is just kind of like making little things in my head click where it's like, dang, like we really are a whiny branch of the church. We're a weak branch of the church. Like, you want to see real Christians? It's not these over here that are writing books because they had, like, an epiphany one day. It's those over there that are willing to be killed, just like in the Bible. Like, the martyrs you read about, that's still taking place. it's not just like Charlie Kirk, you know, like there's martyrs over there that are doing it for nothing, you know, because like we value things and materialistic things, money and stuff like that. They're not getting that. They're doing it knowing that they're not going to make it out. I don't know. I just feel like it puts it into perspective. It's like, how can you be so weak? Like, it is making me want to get more in the Word and pray more and be like, no, like, help me to stand even when I'm exhausted and help me to not be so exhausted. Like, I should have more spiritual stamina.
Right. I think one thing that's like really helped me, it's kind of like going. I don't want to say going off a little bit, but
It's
like,
okay.
yeah. You know, we've been reading, or all these things have been coming out about like Epstein and all these files and all these horrible things that have been going on. Like
Horrible.
Right, just under our noses, behind our backs, whatever it is. And you know, it's just kind of hard to just be like, you know, like this isn't like always my mindset, but I feel like everybody just kind of has those moments where it's like, God, where are you when this is all happening? You know? And I'm not being like, I'm not saying that as like an angry thing, like,
Right.
oh, well, God isn't here. Like, I know that he sees it. But one thing that's really just, I guess, kind of clicked in my head about all of this is I'm currently in Proverbs, reading the Bible front to back. And what was it that I read to you the other day? Was it 9 or 10?
I think it was Proverbs 10.
Proverbs 10. But it is like, it's like wise sayings of Solomon. And like maybe from like halfway through the chapter all the way through, it's just like, I guess I don't know if I would say it's prophesying, but it's kind of like these sayings that are just like the evil is going to come to light. Like God sees all of this evil that's going on. God is going to uplift the righteous and destroy the iniquity and the evildoers and all this. And like I was reading it like in my quiet time while I was at the academy, and I was just like, after I read it, I just had to sit back and just be like, wow. Because it was just like, no, like this can still be applied today. Like you see all of this. You saw all this that was happening. But, you know, like we don't know. We know like the second coming of Christ is like when this is all going to be set right.
Right.
And when justice is coming. But it's just like, I guess for me, it was more of like reassurance, like, no, you see what's going on. You know what's happening. And like these promises of like, this is going to be like justice. Like this is going to be divine. Like whoever's doing this is getting what's coming to them. So I guess for me, it was just like, of course, like I hate that the horrible things happen, but it was just like, they're not going to get away with it. It may look like everybody's getting away with it now, but in the end, it's like he's seen all of it. He's like, no, I know who you are. Your day's coming. So I guess like with that going on, that's what's been able to keep me sort of uplifted.
Yeah.
While, you know, it's not the same situation at all, but it kind of applies still of just like, you know, your spirit is beat down seeing all these horrible things that happen, but seeing still where God is just like, I acknowledge it and I've got you. Like you don't have to worry about any part that's going to come because I've already handled it. Like I've already got a plan for it.
Yeah. I know, like, tying into what you had said, where sometimes like you're looking at all this stuff and you're like, okay, God, like this really doesn't make sense. Like I don't like you're God, but I don't understand like how you're seeing this, and like you're just letting it go, you know? Because like in a respectful way, when I started unloading the files as little as I did, I didn't dig very far and was already so disgusted, like I just couldn't. But I was already being like, oh, like, God, like, where were you when this was taking place? And, it took me back to the story of Cain and Abel. Because when Cain had killed Abel and God had, like, came to, accept the offering, he said, like, where's your brother? And of course, like, Cain's mad. He's like, am I my brother's keeper? Like, basically, you go find him yourself. Like, what's that have to do with me? And, God said something along the lines of, like, I can hear your brother's blood crying out to me in the ground. And it just kind of, like, made things click. Like, whether it's the horrible stuff you're reading in the files, or whether it's, abortion, or the crime taking place in the streets where we're taking each other's lives, God hears it. God's mindful. And sometimes I think we sit there and we're like, God, where are you? And he's sitting there saying, where were you? Like, why were you not in my presence? Why were you not on your hands and knees interceding? Because there are some things now that, like, I feel like the files have been really helpful with, because now that, like, you're seeing it, you can go back and be like, man, I was seeing it the whole time. And so sometimes I'm thinking, if we had been, as the church, in the position we were supposed to be in, and instead of being worried about the football game or the buffet or, like, whatever it was that we were consumed with, if we had been focused on, God, give me the gift of discerning of the spirits, help me to not miss it, help me to stay focused on you. Like, if we had just all been doing our jobs, prayer wouldn't have been out of school. Children would have been raised by their parents instead of by the systems. Like, we would have prioritized, like, that biblical structure of a family. We wouldn't have allowed the idea of marriage to get bulldozed into whatever it is today. A lot of the stuff wouldn't have happened because the church would have been in its place, seeding the atmosphere with praise and worship and intercession. And this bloodshed, like, most of it, if not all of it, would have never happened. So sometimes, like, we're sitting here and it's like, it's really easy to blame God, because it's like, hey, you know everything, you see everything, and you still didn't intercede. And he's like, that's what you were for. Like, I filled the earth with people, and none of you picked up on anything. None of you heard me. Because you can't tell me God doesn't cry over the stuff that's happening. And again, like, this is just stuff that we know. Like, you can't tell me that the God I've read about and the God I know, that his heart doesn't break. So I can't help but think sometimes he's sitting there saying the exact same question to us. Like, where were you? Like, if only you had just interceded. If only you had done your job for, like, generations at this point. But, like, if only you had done your job. I guess, like, to an extent, God, like, reminded me of that little story between Cain and Abel, which sounds like such a weird story to remind me of for hope. But it kind of made me hopeful, because it's like, God's mindful. God does see it. And he's going to do something about it. Bigger and badder than anything I could ever think of, which, trust me, like, see, like, that's a bad thing. Like, I can't think of the demented things like these people think of, but I'm like, I want the worst possible thing to happen to you, like, right now, like, on public display, because I want to see you suffer. But, like, even that, I don't think I could take it, because, like, I'm not wired for that. So I can't even understand what people are doing. And it's not just the files, like, even abortion. I've watched an ultrasound of one. Whether you want a kid or not, I don't understand why you would do that. Like, it kills me to watch it. My brain can't wrap around it. So I already know it's hard for me to understand a lot of the ways of the wicked. It's hard for me to understand the ways of God sometimes. But the thing that he described me with was, Montana, I'm mindful. Yeah. I hear it. And trust me, I'm God. Right. Like, I'm going to do something about it because I'm God.
I really like how you brought that up, though, because, like, I never really thought about it that way, where it was just like, where were you? Yeah. Because it's just like the same argument that gets brought up when it is like that instance where it's like, well, if God is all knowing and God is all powerful, like why didn't he stop it? And it's just like, that the point that always gets brought up in rebuttal is, well, he gave us free will. Or it's like, why do the evil things happen? It's like the evil
we
things.
suck.
It's like the evil, right? It's like the evil things aren't of God. It's like it's because of our free will. And it's like we could have been using that free will to do our jobs and intercede and pray for that discernment, and then we would gain the wisdom and the knowledge of like what's really going on in front of our faces. But because like maybe there was a time where the church kind of just fell asleep spiritually.
Oh yeah.
I'm not sure what church was like before I was born, because I was in church my whole life. So I don't know if there was a shift from like, actual like biblical principles to this shift of like one of my old churches where it was, life coach speeches every Sunday.
Man.
And, every sermon was about prosperity.
Yeah.
And then, like a worship song, a praise song, you take up the offering, life coach speech for about an hour, and then out by noon exactly so that we can all hit up the Mexican restaurant or the Chinese buffet. And,
Don't forget Thai Phuket.
and yeah, I was about to be like, don't dox us, but
It's okay. We're in Nashville. It's okay.
I shoot a 227.
245.
245, yeah, on a good day.
On a
when
good
the sun's
day.
not in my eye. What was that saying?
Like how your old church was like that.
Yeah. So it's like, we all go get fat at the restaurants that we go to. And I guess that lifestyle we kind of became complacent with.
Yeah.
So then
It was comfortable.
Right. So, people stop talking about sin and how it really is a threat to be reckoned with. And, like the spiritual realm, like growing up in that church, like I didn't know about the spirit realm until like, you started talking to me about it. And I was just like, oh yeah, there is like some stuff really out there.
Like, yeah, there actually is like a heaven and a hell and God and the devil.
I was like, oh yeah, there. It makes sense that there is demons past like when Jesus cast them out into those pigs. Like, like it was like it was kind of like a door was open because, like I said, it was just those constant
Feel good sermons.
yeah, feel good sermons.
Yeah.
And it was like that constant, like, do what God says and you'll be rich. And it was just like, who doesn't want to be rich? So, of course, like, I would say that I was asleep spiritually. And that's why, like, when things really, like, got tough and it was like, all right, here, like, you have your foundation. Can you stand against the storm? It was like, my foundation was built on, like,
Sand.
yeah, I was going to say, I was like, is sand the right one or is there another one?
Yeah, sand.
Yeah. So, I was sinking because I didn't, like, I had, it was like, yeah, I know Jesus. And it was just like, okay, what's past that?
You knew Jesus. Like, you did not know Jesus.
Right.
No, I'm kidding. But, like, I understand your point because it's like, you know what I'm realizing? Like, we said in our first episode that, like, there was more than just getting through the gates. And, like, accepting Jesus as your Savior, you can do that without being filled with tongues. You can do that without having a really great prayer life and reading the Word. Like, you can accept that fact and be born again and then just call it a day. Because, I mean, we've seen some Southern Baptists do it. Like, no shame, I was one. Like, we've seen some people do it. And they get through the gates. Like, they're on, like, the suburb of heaven. Okay. But when you accept the knowledge of the spirit realm, and I don't mean like being weird, okay, but like with all the numbers and the stars, but like when you accept the knowledge biblically of the spirit realm, you notice your Christianity shift. Because now it's more than just like, I accept Jesus as my savior. It's you becoming uncomfortably aware that there's a battle over my head. And that with every opportunity or option that's presented to me, there's like two answers that lead me down two drastically different paths. And it's not just, like deciding on being a doctor or a cop. It's stuff that's deciding like your eternal being. And when you realize like there's two teams, like I don't know why, but like when I learned there's two teams, even when something isn't necessarily demonic looking, if you look at it and ask the questions, does this glorify God? Does this resemble Jesus Christ at all? If you say no, there's one other team left. And so like you end up making a lot better decisions because it's like it's that simple, which it sounds silly if you haven't done it, but like if you just like tested that theory for maybe like a week, you would see your life improve. It might get boring for a second, but you would see it improve because you don't realize like you're shielding yourself from the demonic. Like I'm not trying to like take off like this whole turn with it, but it's just like did you notice that like when you really like when it started clicking with you that there's two teams, and so like if it's not God, like I wonder who this is gonna be, like it wasn't like all these fake gods that you were comparing it to. It was either God or the devil. Like that was it. Did you notice a shift?
I would say I did notice a shift, but like I guess it was more like I wouldn't say like when I approach things, it was like, does this glorify God? It was like, yes and no. It was more of just like, I would go back to the things that like I used to do. And it was kind of just like, I would either be uninterested in it or I would just be like, what is this?
So it was more of like it didn't sit well with you anymore? Okay.
Like the music that I used to listen to. Like sometimes, like, I'll just be like, I used to listen to this. And I'll go back and I'm just like, this doesn't sound good at all.
Time to go back to K-pop.
Right. Or it's like the lyrics and I'm just like, these are like disgusting. I'm like, I hate listening to this.
I hated that part. That sucked. Because I love my music. But I was like, I was singing this out loud.
Man, I feel like I had another thing to go on when you were talking about it. But I'm losing my track of thought.
Sorry.
But it was very much like more of a subconscious thing. Because it was a shift. Because I didn't like doing the things that I used to do. Man, and it was going to be so good.
It was going to be so good, y'all.
It was going to be so good. Maybe we might have to circle back to it. Let's see. Can I bring up anything else in the nick of time?
I like to give you a minute because I've noticed because like I do our editing, so like whenever I'm going through and watching everything, making sure everything's good, I've noticed like I can tell when God starts downloading to you while we're sitting here, and it really does come out like, hang on. And like you'll just zone out for a second, and like everything in me wants to like fill that time, but I'm like, no. Download it. Like take your time. So if you see that happening here, just go with it. Like we're downloading. So
what were you talking about? You had said something where it was like, I don't want to go off on this whole like other branch. It was when you said like you noticed that it was after you said you noticed that there was two teams to it. Don't smile at me because that's what I...
Sorry.
See, it's so pretty that like oh gosh.
Did you lose it for good?
I think I lost it for good.
That's okay.
But it might come back. Like, you'll have to say something else, and then I'll have to build up on top of it, because I really did lose my whole train of thought.
That's okay. I mean, maybe just one time. That's okay.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm trying to think, like, anything that would maybe help you. Because, like, going off what you were saying, I had said that I didn't want to go off on this whole thing, but once I realized that there were two teams, that I just started to go differently, I guess. I don't know if that's exactly what I said.
Mm-hmm.
But
I think, like, I remember the general course, like, how I wanted to start. Because, like, I wanted to start with, like, I approach things differently, and it wasn't just, like, does this? It was more of just, like, I feel disgusted doing this.
right.
And then it was going to, like, kind of lead, and, like, the end point was going to be how doing, like, something led to that spiritual exhaustion. And then that's how, like, I don't want to say recovered from it, but it was like, that's how I faced it, I guess.
Okay, well, let me ask you this. Did you notice early on during the shifting for your walk where when you would get involved with things like from previous, it doesn't mean that it was like super horrible, like you didn't do drugs and party and stuff like that, but I'm just saying, like, even just like entertainment and stuff. Did you notice that when you got involved with the things from before, that while you would sit in it, it started to spiritually exhaust you?
Yes.
It's almost like it would drain your spiritual battery faster than anything else.
Right. And that's because it really was just like full of filth. But I guess, like, also sitting in it, like, I started to get conviction. Mm-hmm. So I guess that's where the the spiritual exhaustion came from, because it was like a spiritual, like, whooping.
Well, and like it's almost like while you're being convicted, like, it's not the same. This is just an analogy I'm using. It's like when you're having to use a device, and it's like because you're having to use your spirit, and your spirit's having to convict you, and it's having to correct you and explain to you, like, what you're doing is wrong and, like, keep you on course. You're using it more. And so it starts draining the battery quicker than, like, when you just have your phone in your back pocket. Like, when you have to get it out and do research and figure things out, like, your battery starts going low. So it's kind of like you sometimes we exhaust ourselves because we aren't doing the proper boundaries, and we're not, because, like, you can still be a fun person and be friends with people and then still be like, I can't do this. I'm not going to put myself in this position. I can't compromise my spirit because, like, you know, I don't know if you know it, but, like, there's a very, like, high intense wartime over our head right now. You can't tell me there's not, because the devil's losing in real time. So like you don't want to exhaust your battery on all of this senseless stuff just because you won't do what the book says.
Right. And I think I remember what I was going to say.
Okay. Praise Jesus.
Right. I don't know if this is the exact, like, ooh, like, left hook, like, you know, mic drop moment, like, boom.
That was a right hand, but okay.
Yeah, my bad. Flip the camera for that one. But it was like, it was talking about, like, going back to those old things. And like you said, like, it drains your battery because you're having to be corrected all the time. So it's like, oh, you know, like, I can't do nothing anymore.
Right.
But it was like, when you do what the book says, when you follow the instruction that the Bible gives you, because, you know, that's the way to live.
Right.
It's kind of like all that stuff gets substituted, and, you know, you're not interested in the same things that you were interested before. But the pro side to that is that your interests start to change. So, you know, when I was, when it's like, I can't listen to the same music anymore. It was like, but I find like it was kind of like I found a renewed enjoyment in, like, actual worship music. Like, not, you know, Hillsong. I don't know if it picked it up, but Hillsong.
With his whole chest.
Right.
Hillsong.
But it was like, you know, who are some good ones?
CeCe
Winans, right. But I found a renewed, like, joy and enjoyment listening to CC Winans and like other like actual worshipers, because it was just like, wow, like I can feel the presence of God, even though like it's live, but it's recorded, like it's a recorded live session. But it's just like, you know, hearing the crowd sing along, it's like you could tell. I was like, that's a move of God right there. So, you know, instead of being convicted over like my old music, it was just like I was being supplied joy with the things that were of God. So I think that's, you know, where everything starts to shift. Or like that's one of the details of the shift, is that you lose something, but you gain something so much better. So you get exhausted if you keep living the way that you were, but you gain joy, you gain purpose, you gain all these wonderful things that are way better than anything that you would find over here, just because you're doing what God says.
Another, like,
Ooh,
oh,
sorry.
go ahead.
Sorry. Like leading into like what we originally wanted this video to be about. When you get all this good stuff, right? You see how life becomes so much harder when you're holding on to all this good stuff? That's when the enemy starts to attack you. So I think that's another part where the exhaustion comes in. Like you've left all this behind. So you're not getting exhaustion from this anymore. You're getting exhaustion because you've got all this good stuff and you're just holding on to it like a little kid at a candy shop. And the devil's coming along, and I don't want to say like this big bad bully, because you know but he's coming along and like he's throwing everything he can at you to get you to abandon all this good stuff, abandon what you gained because you're following the word. And then, you know, that worldly stuff that you would like left to gain all this good stuff, it's starting to look real good over here because it's like this was easier to get to. And that's the whole purpose, is that this is easier access right here, but you're not getting enough here. You're getting substance here. It's a little hard to get a hold of. It's a little bit more expensive, but that's because it's the good stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that's where the exhaustion comes in. Like you basically, I'm not meaning this as a negative, but like either side, you're going to go through exhaustion.
That's true.
But the main difference is when you have all the good stuff over here and you're getting beat down and exhausted, the main difference is right here, you have what God supplies you with. And that's when God comes along and he's like, you look a little tired. Let me refill your cup. Let me overflow it. So that not only are you fulfilled back to full strength, you're way better than you were before.
That was it.
That was it.
That was it. Enough said.
And if you don't mind, like, could I go into like what I kind of experienced this week?
Of course, yeah.
So I'll give you a real life example. This past few weeks, actually, was it last week we were talking about like finding God in godless places? Ever since I went to the academy, I'm not dissing anybody or anything. There's some wonderful people there. The instructors are very nice, very professional. But like I said, my patience with my classmates is running thin. It is not a godly place. And I've been trying really hard to make sure that while I'm there to be prayed up and read up and, you know, just keep my head on straight, because working for law enforcement, you see a lot of things, or that's what everybody's been saying. You see a lot of things. You go through a lot of things. You know, it's not an ideal place. Like the instructor on the first day was like, you have to be a little bit off to work here. But I won't go too far down that track, just because there's a point to all this. It's not a godly place. And these past few weeks, usually I'm able to feel God's presence whenever, like, I'm just going about my day. And recently, it's just kind of felt like he's been far. But I've had to keep reminding myself like that's not the case. It just feels that way, but like really he's right here next to me. And right now it just doesn't feel like it. But I know the truth. But of course, like that gets exhausting. Because it's like, Lord, I know that you're here, but like I feel tired. Like I'm doing the same things I'm always doing. That like we were good before, but it's like now it just feels like, you've kind of just left me here. And it was never like that though. It's like, well, why'd you leave me here? It wasn't like that. It was just like, I think one morning, my specific prayer, I was like, I stopped like praying for things and I was just like, let me just talk to him. So I was like, Lord, like I feel far from you right now. I was like, I know that's not the truth. I was like, but that's just the way I feel. I was like, but I know that you're here. I kept going back to that. I'm like, I know that you're here. So, I mean, it was hard to stay on top of everything. And then every day is just jam packed with like conversations and learning and people and just all the things that I usually don't like being around. So, it was a little hard these past few weeks to remain uplifted. So this past week was especially hard just because like I started noticing it more. I was like, especially since last episode, like I was just coming off of being sick.
Yeah.
So like I started like my first few days of this past week, I was sick. Like my throat was sore and I was like praying for healing and declaring it. And like I would wake up the next morning, I'd be like, ugh, I'm out. I couldn't give her another day. But like it was just really hard to go through. Because it was more noticeable this time. And like last Sunday, I'm at church and usually I'm able to feel the Holy Spirit fill the room whenever we're in worship. But it was like last Sunday, I just couldn't get into it. And, like I was still like praising as loud as I could, even though I was a little sick. I was just like, I don't care. I'm doing it still. But it did like kind of stick with me a little bit because it's just like, oh man, like I didn't feel it like I did usually. I'm like, is it something that I'm doing? And that's what kind of this past week has been. It was just like, am I doing enough? I'm like, I haven't like I still have my prayer time and my Bible time. And I'm like, am I doing something wrong to where I feel like this? To where like, God, it feels like you're far away. Like, are you disgusted with me? Like, where's the disconnect here? And it kind of was exhausting to just keep myself up in that headspace of just like, no, he's here. I just can't, I can't feel him right now, but he's here. And I remember I was actually scrolling on TikTok one night before I went to bed. And a guy around my age was actually going through the same thing where it just felt like he was far and like quiet and everything. So like I opened the comments and somebody in the comments was like, teachers don't talk during the test. And I was like, duh. I was like, okay. And I immediately went to prayer and I was just like, all right, Lord, I'm sorry for what I said before. I'm like, I understand now. And I just want to let you know that I'm going to ace it. So, immediately when I saw that, it was kind of like I was rejuvenated because it was just like, I know he's here. This is just a little something I'm going through. And I'm like, but God is still good. He's still here. He's been here the entire time. It's just the way that I felt. So I felt good after that. And this past, like literally a few hours ago, we were at church and it was just incredible.
Amazing.
Like it was a move of God today. And I'm so very thankful that we go to this church. Shout out, church. But I haven't felt such a pull of the Spirit in weeks. And like I was able to feel God's presence in full effect and even more. And I just remember like we had gotten into worship and I was just like, there you are. I was like, I've missed you, God. And like it was just an incredible move. Like I was speaking in tongues the majority of the sermon, and I'm sitting there and like I would get to the point where like I would stop to breathe and I would just be like, thank you, Jesus. And it was like almost like a word vomit of tongues again. Like I just couldn't stop. So of course, like my exhaustion is gone now, and I feel once again just alive, because it was just like, even though I went through that tough time where it was like, you know, I had all my good stuff. But you know, I started no, it's getting heavy because, you know, like all these people are mean and everybody has drama and I'm stressed about testing and doing good. And I don't know if I can do it, and I really miss home. All these different things, and I'm sick. Gosh, I'm sick.
Not you acting it out a cough.
But it was like I was feeling that like just down. But today was like cup was flooded. Like it was like he had a big old bucket. It was just like
big old bucket. Again, like and subscribe just for the like dramatic reenactments.
It's not dramatic, you know. It's it's not dramatic. That's how it felt. So it was like, even though that whole week, like weeks, almost a month of just being like, God, you feel kind of far. Like it feels like we're not on the same page that we were. I stayed faithful. And I stayed clinging to, no, God's here. Like we're still holding hands. It's just that you feel kind of like over here, and I'm having to like, you know, reach the
pinky.
Right. Just reaching out, trying to grasp the garment. Trying to get a hold of anything that I can, just to be like, God, you're still here. This is your presence right here. You know, because I could have been like, well, God's not here, so I'll sit in my room and just
pout.
Right. I won't read my Bible today because God's just ignoring me. You know, I could have done that. Or God doesn't want to talk to me, so I won't talk to him. You know, see, I could have done all that and missed out on the glory today. So I think, like, to wrap it up, like, if you feel exhausted in your spirit, exhausted in your walk, like, just keep holding on, because what he's got for you is way better than the exhaustion that you're feeling right now.
That's awesome. Well, I'm sorry, I'm about to sneeze.
Bless
but
you.
that whole, thank you, I'm so blessed, thank you, Jesus. But like that whole story is like cherry on top. So thank you for sharing that, because it's obvious that like God was like, hey Marco, this is time for you to talk about like our little story. And that's what it was. Like that was you and God. Like that was just like a glimpse of y'all's week together. And I feel like a lot of people could relate to that because it's not always like this big dramatic thing of I'm so distant from God. Like no, like you're going through the motions. You're doing all the right things. It just doesn't feel the same. Like it's hard for you to hear his voice right now. It's hard for you to feel his presence right now. But sometimes it's just like, can you hold on anyway? It's the same as being in a relationship with someone, and like if I'm having a bad week, you don't leave me. You're still my husband. But that role doesn't change. That role doesn't change. You know, like you're still there. You're patient, and you're like, I don't doubt that when I have that it's hard on you, because you're like, well, is she mad at me? Like, did I do something? Same questions. Did I do something? You know, like, is there something going on that she's just not talking to me about? Like, what is it? But once we get past that stint of time, and then you get to, hey, Marco, like, I'm sorry I've been acting off, like, blah, blah, blah. And then like we have a conversation, we reconnect. It's like, hey, I never hated you. I was just upset, like whatever, but like whatever. Like the whole like my point is that we've all been through that in some form, and sometimes we for some reason just make it seem like it's different because it's God. But that's why we put such an emphasis on you're in relationship with God. Like he's your friend, he's your father. And relationships go through a period where multiple times where it's like things just they're not clicking. Maybe I'm not clicking, maybe you're not clicking, maybe we aren't, I don't know. But something's just not clicking. But when you stop thinking that you can just always leave and you learn that no, I'm in this for the long haul, like I'm in covenant. Things are a little rocky, but I'm still just going to be patient. Because you still followed through, today, it was like, there you are. Everything's fine. Like, we're besties. It's fine.
Right.
Like, you had to get to that point.
And I had to stop myself from being like, why were you playing with me?
Don't you get your hands on your hips? Like, now, Dad.
Dad, you could have told me that I was going to go through a test. I didn't even study. Actually, that's not true. I did study. I did study.
He just said it here. Clip it, chat. Well, anyway, I think that was a great story. And like I said, I feel like that was just a cherry on top. And, like I said, I like taking time and going off course or going over here and finding these random things because once we get to it, God was downloading to you the entire time. We just had to get to it. So I'm very thankful that like we're in our own setting that we can allow that to take place because like that was very uplifting and inspiring. So like I said, thank you for sharing. I kept like praying in my head because sometimes I was like, I think he's zoning out. Like Lord, just protect it. Like keep the thought coming.
I wasn't zoning out. It was just like,
no, you're like, okay. So once there was this time, anyway.
It was literally gonna be so fire. I promise.
But no, I loved it. So I think on that note, unless you have something else to add, that's all I had. Like you've said enough for me. That was it.
Once again, I was just waiting to share that story all week because it was just like, that's so cool. And, I give all the glory to God, especially for the results on my test this week.
Yeah. And for you graduating?
I just wanted to say that as a reminder. God is good all the time. And he's never far. He's always closer than the breath that you take. I know that they always say that in worship songs. And I feel like sometimes when we listen to stuff like that, it kind of just one ear, not the other.
We're like, yeah, God's good.
But it's just like, it's true. All that they say is true because when like you actually go through it, it's kind of like, oh, that's what they meant. And so just pay attention, don't give up, because he's always with you, and his word is true when he says he doesn't forsake the righteous and he sets them upright and he guides their steps. Because I was being guided even though I couldn't see 2 feet in front of me. That was last week, actually. So.
I'm sorry. Amazing Grace has been stuck in my head ever since. For some reason, it's just that line. Anyway, so
that's all I had to say.
Yeah, it's been a great week, and we're happy to have spent some of your Wednesday with you. If you're watching us on Wednesday or whenever you're watching us, like I'm happy that you're here.
You better be on time for this episode, though.
Anyway,
and every episode,
he's threatening. I'm so sorry, but
why would you not want to be on time for the word of the Lord?
We appreciate you spending your time with us, and we're very thankful that you're here. Please don't forget to like and subscribe if you're here on YouTube, and if you are streaming us on Spotify, please leave a 5-star review because we greatly appreciate it. All of our socials are in the description box below as usual, and if you are in need of a Bible, Again, we have it going across this little screen here with our email address. You can send us an email, so I would need your name and your address, and we can get a Bible sent to you. And our website has also been going on this little ticker, mnmcollective.com. So you can check out all things M&M Collective and join the mailing list to get updates every time the collective makes a new post or like something new and exciting is coming out, which trust me, there's going to be some. We just haven't talked about it yet. So until next time, bye.
See ya.